You wake up at the usual time, same alarm, same snooze pattern, same mental groan. You shuffle to the kitchen, make the same coffee, open the same app, sit in the same spot, and then out of nowhere it hits you. A tightness, a low-grade irritation, almost like the walls are leaning in a little closer than they were yesterday. Nothing is wrong, exactly. Your routine works. It's efficient, predictable, safe. So why does it suddenly feel like it's slowly suffocating you? Maybe you've caught yourself fantasizing about quitting your job with no plan, or taking a random trip, or burning your entire schedule to the ground and starting fresh on a Tuesday afternoon. Maybe you don't act on it. You just feel it. That quiet pressure, that itch, that sense of, I can't do this exact loop forever. Here's the twist. Routines don't usually break us when they're chaotic. They break us when they work too well. There's a psychology behind why familiar routines, once comforting, can suddenly feel unbearable. Not because you're ungrateful or lazy, but because different parts of your mind wake up at different times. Let's talk about the kinds of people this hits hardest and what's actually going on underneath. Picture this. You've built a life that runs like clockwork. You know exactly what's coming next. Your calendar is neat. Your habits are solid. Other people admire how together you are. And yet lately, you feel restless in a way you can't explain. Not anxious, not sad, just boxed in. This often happens to people whose routines were born out of survival. At some point, structure saved you. Maybe you were overwhelmed, burnt out, broke, or lost. Routine became your anchor. It reduced uncertainty and gave you control when things felt shaky. Your brain learned that predictability equals safety. But once safety is restored, your nervous system doesn't need the same level of control. The part of you that craves growth, novelty, and expansion finally gets airtime. When it sees nothing changing, it starts to protest quietly. You're not rebelling against discipline. You're outgrowing the version of it that was built for a different chapter. If that resonates, ask yourself this. Is my routine still supporting who I am now, or who I had to be back then? Then there's another profile. This one doesn't look stable on the outside. You follow routines because you're supposed to. Morning rituals, productivity systems, habit trackers. You try. You really do. But after a while, you feel trapped by the very structure that promised freedom. You skip a day, then another, and suddenly, the whole thing feels pointless. This often happens to people with high internal sensitivity, the kind of mind that notices subtle shifts and energy changes. When life becomes too repetitive, your brain doesn't relax. It goes numb. Psychologically, novelty helps regulate emotion. New experiences activate dopamine pathways tied not just to pleasure, but to meaning. When everything feels the same, motivation doesn't just dip, it collapses. So the routine doesn't feel grounding. It feels dead. And then comes the guilt. Why can't I just stick to it like everyone else? But the issue isn't discipline. It's mismatch. Some minds need flexible structure rhythms instead of rigid loops, variety inside consistency. Without that, routine feels like a cage instead of a container. Maybe you don't need less structure. Maybe you need structure that breathes. Another scenario. You're doing everything right. You hit your goals. You progress. You level up. And yet the satisfaction fades faster than it used to. You once felt proud crossing things off your list. Now it's just the next thing. This is where routine collides with identity. At first, routines help you become someone productive, healthy, reliable, focused. But once that identity stabilizes, repeating the same behaviors no longer adds meaning. It only maintains the status quo. Your brain is wired to seek progress, not maintenance. When routine shifts from building to preserving, it can quietly drain your sense of purpose. You're not bored because your life is empty. You're bored because it's no longer challenging your sense of self. That's often when people sabotage, shake things up, or make dramatic changes that don't fully make sense. It's not self-destruction. It's an unconscious attempt to feel alive again. But here's the twist most people miss. Sometimes routines feel suffocating not because they're rigid, but because they're no longer chosen. At some point, your habits stop being intentional and start being automatic. You wake up and move through the day on rails. Your body shows up, but your agency fades. Psychologically, autonomy is a core human need. When you lose the sense that you're actively choosing your life, even a good one, your nervous system reacts as if something is wrong. You feel trapped, even if the cage is comfortable. That's why even dream lives can start to feel unbearable. Same commute, same conversations, same weekends. Predictability erodes your sense of authorship. You don't want chaos. You want permission to choose again. Sometimes the solution isn't changing your entire life. It's reclaiming agency inside its small changes, new inputs, altered rhythms, reminders that you're not just following a script. And finally, there's the quietest type of all, the person who doesn't even realize they're suffocating yet. They feel tired, but not sleepy, irritated, but not angry, unmotivated, but not depressed. Life feels oddly flat. This is often what emotional stagnation looks like. Routines are excellent at keeping life stable, but terrible at processing unexpressed emotion. If you've been moving nonstop, doing, managing, maintaining without space to reflect or adapt, your psyche eventually pushes back. Not with drama, but with dullness. The routine becomes the scapegoat, but the real issue is unprocessed inner change. You've evolved, your values shifted, your needs changed, but your outer life didn't get the memo. So the discomfort grows not because routine is bad, but because it's outdated. Here's the reframe that changes everything. Feeling suffocated by routine is not a failure of discipline. It's a signal of transition. It means a part of you is ready for expansion, agency, novelty, or meaning. The discomfort isn't asking you to burn your life down. It's asking you to listen. Where does your routine feel dead instead of supportive? Where does it feel inherited instead of chosen? Where does it protect you from growth instead of enabling it? You don't need to escape structure. You need to update it. So which version sounded like you, the one who outgrew survival routines, the one who needs flexibility, the achiever craving challenge, the autopilot soul wanting agency again, or maybe a little of all of them? If your routine suddenly feels a little too tight today, that might not be a problem. That might be growth knocking politely before it starts banging on the walls.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Hit the like button if this helped you.